Okay, let's get up close with the herb Eleuthero today. So I have it here, the cut up root pieces. I have it in powder form. So just as a ground up powder, I'm going to show you both ways and how to use them best. Yeah, it is an adaptogen. It is the adaptogen. It is very well studied. There's a lot of research also behind it. So as I said, it's a root. It's more from the northern regions. So that's why it's also called Siberian Ginseng. And it helps us, like all adaptogens do, with our response to stress. So it can help us with stress. It also balances the immune system, hormonal functions in the body, you know, the whole communication on the HPA axis between the thyroid and the adrenals. So yeah, it makes us resistant to stress. This can also be, you know, the elements. This can be cold weather or heat. I always imagine the Vikings rowing the boat days on end in rough weather and wind and cold. So this is the herb that gave them the strength and stamina to do this and to survive this. So yeah, it's also a great immune herb. It can be used for all kinds of situations. It is a bit, you know, each of those adaptogens, we have many of them, they have characteristics in common, yeah, that they help us to balance stress and all this. So this is the definition of an adaptogen, that it has this broad, unspecific action. So it balances out things, you know, it is not pushing you in one direction, but each adaptogen has also some individual characteristics that are particular to that herb, yeah. So for Eleuthero, how I would use this or recommend this for clients is, it is a bit stimulating, yeah. So you can't take it, you know, if you have trouble sleeping, you know, you have to be careful. You maybe in that case should take a different herb, you know, or if you tend to anxiety. And it can be a bit stimulating, just like coffee. I mean, it's very different from any plain stimulant in the sense that it actually gives you the energy and also does some of this repairing work in the body and not just plainly being kind of pushing you in one direction. Yeah, so it's not like coffee in that sense, but it can be too stimulating for some people. Yeah, you have to be very careful with the dose. Yeah, so here in my cut up root pieces, this is about 10 grams. Yeah, this you would boil, you would make a decoction, and in powder, I think like a small teaspoon, this is about 2 grams. So you can really start with half a gram, yeah, like really, really very little, and try this amount first. And then also don't have it after 4 in the afternoon. And even this is too late for some people. Yeah, I just had a couple of days ago a client and I recommended Eleuthero among other things. And then she told me, oh, actually, yeah, she had trouble sleeping, which she didn't have before. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like it was the Eleuthero. So we had to reduce the dose, and now she takes it only in the morning. She had a second dose around lunchtime. But actually in this case, it's better to really take it only during the morning and not after noon, let's say. Yeah, so you have to be careful with that. The stimulant effect is really noticeable right after taking it, kind of 15 minutes, half an hour after taking it. With the other adaptogens, you know, for example, it's very different from ashwagandha, which is also an adaptogen. It is from Ayurveda, and Eleuthero would be more of our Western herbs. In this kind of, European would not be totally correct, but Europe, Asia region and northern regions. And ashwagandha is from Ayurveda, and ashwagandha has also a very calming effect. Yeah, it's very good to calm anxiety. Actually, it's one of my favorite herbs to calm anxiety. It helps you sleep, but it doesn't make you sleepy right after taking it. Yeah, so you can also take it anytime during the day, but it also doesn't give you this energy right away. Yeah, ashwagandha can give you more energy, and it does that. It gives also strength and stamina, but it takes 2 or 3 weeks to kick in. And Eleuthero, Siberian ginseng, is immediate. Yeah, it is more a bit similar like actually Asian ginseng or Korean, like the normal Korean, Chinese red or white ginseng. So it is, because of that, it is named Siberian ginseng, because the plant has nothing to do. It's not a ginseng. It's not in the same family, but it is named Siberian ginseng because of this effect. So you can feel the effect right away. So this can be good for some people and not so good for others. Yeah. So in that case of my client from a couple of days ago, we had to reduce the dose. We agreed she takes it only in the morning and that she's careful to not mess up her sleep. But on the other hand, then she told me, oh, she had, the whole family had a flu and they were in bed, and then her husband broke his knee and a lot of stress. And she said, oh, and I was actually pretty happy, astonishingly happy and okay with this situation, and I just did what I had to do, and there was no time to be tired and everything. I was like, yeah, this was also the Eleuthero. I'm actually glad I gave it to you, that you just had such a stressful phase in your life and you needed all your energy, and definitely the Eleuthero helped you from the total crash and the total burnout. No? So it was good on that side, yeah, that she had this herb in her protocol, definitely. Yeah. So it can be used like this, you know, occasionally if you are preparing for a really intense phase, or you know you're going to have a lot of stress, you're traveling, or yeah, anything that would be a bit more stressful than normal, you can take Eleuthero. I would still kind of start early, you know, of course you don't want to prepare for stress like a day before or when you're already stressed. It's always good to start this and take Eleuthero before that every day a little bit, and then when you are actually in the stressful phase or time of your life, you know, you take the dose you need. Yeah, with Eleuthero it's just like with a lot of other things also. You would just start with 1/2 gram, like this amount I showed you, a tiny little bit. You can just stir this into some hot water. You have a kind of an instant tea, like I showed you also in one of the other videos with the astragalus powder. So you just dissolve it. With the root pieces, you would have to make a decoction. So this you would just boil for maybe half an hour to an hour. Yeah, half an hour is probably okay, 45 minutes. And yeah, you would just start with a little. So I would usually at least boil 10 grams, but I wouldn't then take this. I mean, for me, actually, this is an okay dose to take in a day, but for others, this would be way too much. Yeah, so you can boil this, but then you drink it slowly, you see what happens, you increase the dose a bit the next day. You just play around with the dose and find out the dose that works for you. Yeah, that gives you the ideal energy level to get through your day, but not too much, of course. Yeah, so that then you can sleep later. Yeah. So I take it in those two ways. If I don't have time and I can't make the decoction, I'm like, oh, I have to take my Eleuthero. For example, yesterday I was really glad I took some Eleuthero before leaving the house, because then I had to wait for 1.5 hours at the veterinarian, and we were not allowed to sit inside for the hygienic reasons. We had to stand outside in the cold, and it was windy and cold, and I was like, yeah, no, I really felt kind of protected from the Eleuthero. I didn't get a cold. I didn't feel bad afterwards. I didn't get a headache. So it was really the Eleuthero helping me to stand the weather, the cold weather. It is, yeah, one of the things that Eleuthero is known for. Yeah, so it can help you in any kind of stress, physical stress, emotional stress, yeah, any form of stress. And yeah, so the dose is really depends, you know. I mean, now, for example, in my family, a family member, after having the flu and being tired after that, you know, all this tiredness, now this would be also post-viral fatigue syndrome, post-COVID, long COVID, all these situations. Now you could take Eleuthero to come back to life, yeah, to get your energy back after that. Of course, you can take it during and before. I mean, this would be ideal, yeah, if you had this herb already, to take it during a cold or flu, or to prepare and then not get it at all because of the immune properties that Eleuthero has. Yeah, it strengthens also the immune system, so it would be way less likely that you actually get sick. But let's say you have this lingering symptoms of fatigue after a long cold or flu. Yeah, the dose of could be up to, you know, 2 teaspoons. I would always start with a little, but it could be 4 grams, 10 grams, as I said, roughly in that amount. But start with 1/2 gram. Really start low, because some people react to it and then they're too stimulated and then they can't sleep. Yeah, so always start with a little, but yeah, up to two big teaspoons, like would be maybe 8 grams. Yeah, this is an amount for adults. Like I could easily take this, but usually 1 teaspoon is fine for a normal day, let's say. Yeah, so if you make the decoction, of course, it's a great chance to play around a bit and to implement more herbs into your decoction. I combine it a lot with my burdock root, which is good for the liver, a liver herb, or also I recommend it often to clear the skin or for any type of kind of mild detox. And then I always put a couple of my warming carminatives. Yeah, so these are a bit like chai tea herbs. Yeah, I have here my own ground up mix. This is just like pepper, cinnamon, clove. What else did I put in here? yeah, cinnamon, pepper, cardamom, exactly. So just some warming herbs that in winter, you know, if it's the cold season, maybe in summer I would put different herbs, but now in the colder season I would put some of those warming chai herbs. And I just boil, I just really like for a liter of water, maybe half a teaspoon is enough, because you boil it and it really extracts the flavor of those herbs. So yeah, I would combine some burdock, some eleuthero, and some of those warming chai spices, maybe a little stevia leaf if I wanted a bit sweeter, or some licorice if you like the taste. So you can play around with it. Yeah, once you put already the effort, you know, and you make a decoction and you really boil this on a stove for half an hour, you can put in other herbs that need a decoction, like the burdock root, or also dandelion root, chicory root, something that is good for the liver, for digestion. So you can combine the herbs, of course, yeah? And the powder is more like, okay, you have it ready, you didn't make your decoction, you don't have half an hour now to make a tea. So you take the powder. It's also available in capsules. And yes, eleuthero would be okay to take in capsules, you know, because the quantity is low, even if it's just the straight powder that is encapsulated without any extraction, you know, it's not concentrated. It would be fine. Maybe you need, you know, 2 capsules in the morning, 2 around lunchtime or so, to get you through the day and to help you long term, to balance your stress and everything. So it's excellent for the thyroid. I use it a lot for people with hypothyroid or Hashimoto's. So yeah, for many situations, also older people, you know, if there is already like fatigue and just feeling a bit worn out, eleuthero is a fantastic herb, really, for all ages and for conditions, especially if fatigue is involved, yeah, if you feel like you are low in energy, yeah. And I really have great reactions, yeah, in my clients. Usually sometimes they need just a tiny dose, and yeah, it works really well for them in combination with other things. Yeah, it's not the only herb I give, but it's an herb that I give more long term, like low dose long term, and basically the dose somebody needs to have the energy they need to get through the day, no? And yeah, not taking it too late and not taking too much, so that you can sleep. Yeah, these are the important points to remember. Yeah, I combined it like during a cold or flu. You could take your eleuthero powder and combine it with your astragalus powder, which we had in another video. So then you have a bit more immune support added. Yeah, we talked about astragalus. It's from Chinese medicine. It's also considered a tonic, which is a bit overlapping concept with adaptogens. It's not exactly the same, but it's like a minor tonic. Yeah, it's a mild tonic, but it's very good for the immune system. Or now in the, let's say, post-COVID or post-flu, whatever, post-viral fatigue syndrome situation, you can combine the eleuthero with something immune stimulating also, like chaga mushroom or other medicinal mushrooms. Yeah, I have here my chaga powder, and this combines also well in a coffee. Actually, you could have some, yeah, you could even put the eleuthero in a coffee and the chaga powder. The taste combines really well with coffee, or one of those, you know, instant but herbal based coffees, like made from chicory root or things like that. If you don't want like too much of the caffeine, you could put it in there, the chaga powder. And yeah, at the moment my husband is drinking eleuthero, 1 to 2 teaspoons depending on the day, and a teaspoon of chaga in his cereal coffee, like a coffee that is made of herbal things and not of the coffee bean, no? So yeah, this is his drink for the day, to keep immunity strong and to have enough energy to get through the day, and to prevent anything that's floating around there, to not get the cold or flu or anything. So really also a good immune herb, no? And this balancing function, no, of the thyroid, of our adrenals, so adrenal fatigue and all this. So it really helps with the communication of your hormonal glands and helps to regulate all those physiological processes in the body that we depend on, that they are balanced. Yeah, okay, so this is eleuthero. I hope you liked the video. More videos like this in my Ko-fi membership. I post the link below. And I also have an episode on my podcast coming up. Down to Earth Herbalism is the podcast. And I will talk about medicinal mushrooms soon, and how to incorporate them. Yeah, they combine great with coffee or certain beverages. It depends on the taste. Some are pretty bitter, so maybe better in capsules. Some can be taken in different ways. So we're going to discuss this soon on the podcast Down to Earth Herbalism. Thank you for watching this, and talk to you soon. Let me know your questions, and yeah, write me. Okay, see you soon. Ciao.